Why do so many people stay stuck even after reading another book, attending another conference, starting another habit, or making another promise to themselves? I think it's because they're trying to solve the wrong problem. Imagine you're driving down the road and your check engine light comes on. You could put a piece of tape over the light, problem solved. At least it looks that way. But anyone with common sense knows the warning light isn't the problem. It's a signal. It's pointing you to something deeper. Now think about your own life. Maybe you're battling anxiety. Maybe you're constantly frustrated. Maybe you procrastinate. Maybe you lose your temper. Maybe you lack motivation. Maybe you keep repeating the same destructive patterns. Those things are real, but here's the question we rarely ask. Are they the problem, or are they pointing to the problem? That's one of the greatest blind spots in the Christian life. We become experts at identifying symptoms while remaining strangers to the causes. Why? Because symptoms are visible, causes are buried. Symptoms ask for quick fixes, causes require honest examination. Symptoms ask, how do I stop feeling this way? Causes ask, Lord, what are you revealing through what I'm feeling? Those are very different questions. Throughout Scripture, God constantly worked beneath the surface. Jesus didn't simply address behavior, he addressed the heart. He didn't stop at actions, he exposed motives. He didn't merely confront sin, he revealed the beliefs that produced it. Because he understood something we often forget. The fruit is never the root. If you only pick bad fruit from a diseased tree, more fruit will eventually grow. Not because picking fruit doesn't matter, but because the root was never healed. The same is true spiritually. You can manage your reactions without changing what produces them. You can suppress your fear without confronting the beliefs that feed it. You can improve your habits without ever asking why those habits existed in the first place. That's why behavior modification often produces temporary results. Transformation happens at the root. Here's another assumption we quietly make. We assume that because we've identified the symptom, we've identified the problem. But awareness isn't the same as understanding. Knowing you're anxious isn't the same as knowing why. Knowing you're angry isn't the same as knowing what you're protecting. Knowing you're procrastinating isn't the same as knowing what you're afraid of. Biblical clarity begins when we stop asking, how do I fix this? And start asking, Lord, what is this revealing? That's a completely different conversation. It's no longer about managing behavior. It's about inviting God to expose the beliefs, fears, idols, wounds, or false identities that have been quietly shaping our decisions. That work isn't easy. In fact, it's often uncomfortable, which is why so many people settle for symptom management. It feels better, it feels safer, but it rarely leads to lasting freedom. Jesus never came simply to make us behave better. He came to transform us from the inside out. And transformation always starts beneath the surface. You see, I work with Christians who need biblical clarity while they're still in the middle of life's storms because our reactions often point to something much deeper than the circumstances themselves. When we invite God to reveal the root instead of merely managing the fruit, that's where lasting change begins. If this brought biblical clarity to something you've been wrestling with, share it with someone who's tired of fighting the same battles over and over again. And if you ever wondered why your reactions seem to have a life of their own, watch my video called Why Your Reactions Reveal Your Identity, because what you call a reaction may actually be revealing something much deeper than you realize. And if this video helped you recognize a pattern in your own life, imagine what happens when we examine your specific situation. During my Unstuck advisory session, we will walk through an identity and direction audit to uncover the blind spot, beliefs, and decision patterns that may be keeping you from moving into what God is calling you to do. If you're ready for that kind of clarity, then download the application, fill it out, and send it to unstuckin7days@gmail.com. See you soon.